It doesn't get any easier. It just gets worse, folks. If you were sensitive to the plight of people, animals, and especially children before, you will be even more so now. I can't bear to see some posts or videos about animals or children being scared by something or even fear-based scenarios. They're innocent, they're not acclimated to this world like the rest of us are. Well, some of us are. Those of low consciousness are doing just fine. I'm not. So I have to limit posts of these sorts so I don't spend my whole day bawling my eyes out. It doesn't get better. The force that will drive people to change this world is consciousness, and it dictates that we stop our collective suffering by experiencing and witnessing our own. Ivo, many people believe that the way to open the eyes of those of lower consciousness is to expose them to events of suffering. It is to the extent that they suffer themselves, but not everyone can suffer all catastrophes that are regularly created on your planet. So awareness comes in levels. And it is a question of reawakening those to their internal compassion. They must remember what they already know. For others, it is a question of developing their internal compassion because they are still incapable of feeling compassion for others. Compassion for others is developed through compassion for the self. This, too, is projection, as we have commented on so often. Life is a mirror. In the same way one would not want to be 100 pounds overweight, one would have compassion for someone going through a lifetime of negative manifestation, perhaps one of lack of having enough to eat. The way to feel this compassion is to have had periods where food was not available to you, and then you will feel for others when they go through this. In this way, the energies are working their magic upon Earth now. Yes, I call Earth the rude awakening. Ivo, if you like, but this is the way that life works in duality. It shows you what you manifest through your lower frequencies. You manifest what you fear, in other words. I never feared being broke, but I ended up staring at bare cupboards a few years back. Ivo, your parents were very afraid of going without food. In Holland, they lived through the hunger winter of 1944 to 45 before Holland was liberated. So you held this fear and you have resolved it. My parents did pretty good at it too because they had food stashed everywhere in the house. Ivo, they did so out of fear. You do it because you realize that no matter what, you are being cared for, and you use universal law to manifest, not fear. So how is all this stuff passed from parents to child? Ivo, through the DNA. Yes, you were not only born with the ability to gain extra weight, but also the fears that your mother held at being unattractive were also born within you. Great. Sarcasm. Ivo, that is how DNA works, my love. You are given the consciousnesses of your parents at the time of your birth, as well as your own. Their fears are in their DNA and you are comprised of their DNA. So I smoked like my father, was short-tempered like my father, feared being overweight like my mother, developed a toxic personality like both my parents. Ivo, and your brother ended up with sociopathic tendencies. Yes, I guess thanks to my alien DNA I didn't get that. Ivo, yes. So this is why you are wondering where your overweight and fears of being so came from. From your mother. Yes, my father didn't care, not at all. She was paranoid and kept after all of us to look good because God forbid she didn't want the neighbors to suspect that there was something wrong in our family. Seeing my old man chasing my sister out the door with a 2x4 in a fit of anger wouldn't have tipped them off, I guess. Ivo, they knew. Your neighbors could tell there was something wrong with your family. Yes, but the good-hearted Mrs. K used to come by anyway. Bless her. Ivo, so, then, you see, you gain consciousness level through your parents, and unless you change what you do not like about it, you are fated to repeat it. Those who are starseeds have the ability to outgrow this consciousness level far easier than the ones who are purely earthling. However, you must be given a set of circumstances to overcome in order to learn these lessons, in order to remember. And so many of you have had traumatic lives. This was so you could remember your self-love and love of others, compassion for self and others, and innate kindness that is inherent to your soul. That is who you truly are. Showing a trauma to someone who has not suffered through anything similar sometimes leaves the person untouched. Showing a trauma to someone who has already known that suffering would leave them wanting to help. They would be moved to tears. Starseeds and light workers know that the human relationship to animals is very different from that which is practiced upon Earth. Humans of the galaxy are far more gentle than what you have on this planet. The humans here are very coarse, rough, and sometimes very unsympathetic. This will all change and you will leave behind your old macho, aggressive, violent ways. Until then, compassion must be built on by some and enacted by others. Those who can, the ones with large hearts, are here now. They will bring healing to this world and stop much suffering. How many of you stop to look at traffic accidents before the police and ambulance show up, but do not stop? If there were an accident, would you pull over to see what you could do? Do you realize that even speaking to, connecting with someone who has had a car accident helps them to understand they do not have to undergo this trauma by themselves? There is reassurance in that. That is service to others. All you need do is stay until the police arrive. Sharon had an appointment with an acupuncturist today, but she cancelled it because she has been running a mild fever the last 2 days. Although suspecting it has to do with incoming energies, she cancelled it in case she was wrong. Maybe she does have a touch of the flu or COVID, she thought, and so she cancelled because she did not want to make the doctor sick and perhaps threaten his business. That is service to others, not service to self. By the way, she does not have COVID but is not interested in becoming part of the paranoia around her either, so she will stay out of public places for the time being. Me, and you know what COVID stands for? Certification of Vaccination ID. Yeah, I prefer staying out of that mess. Ivo, would you help an ailing animal? If an animal was stuck, would you help it? That is service to others and living through the heart. Or would you put up a video on YouTube which shows animals pacing in zoo cages and then laughing because they look funny doing it? When an animal paces in its cage, it is because that is the closest its mind can come to protecting its territory. It goes back and forth from side to side because it is protecting its territory, and this is what animals will do in nature, even house cats will. Me, yes. It's sad to see this. I remember a black panther doing this in a cage last time I went to the zoo, so I never went back to any zoo. I don't like them. I guess these people don't understand that this isn't funny, it's very serious, and these zoos should be abolished and people should learn to live with nature again. Why cage nature up for our viewing when we can just live with it? Again, this is probably one of these innovations that has sidelined from realizing our true nature as humans. Like telephones instead of telepathy, cars instead of teleportation. Ivo, yes, we do upon our planet. Me, this has all got to do with low consciousness. It creates ignorance and it affects the whole planet. We're here to change that, starseeds and light workers. We will create new habitats for animals who have been abused in zoos, circuses and the like. We will learn how to relate to animals as our equals again. Because we did before in antiquity. Haha. It's 3:33 p.m. I love when I see 11:11 on the clock too. So the point of this video is we're going to see more things that wrench at our hearts. The more pain and suffering we see, the more compelled we'll be to do something about it. It doesn't get easier. As long as Earth stays the death culture that it currently is, people like us will have to censor what we expose ourselves to, either that or spend the whole day crying. The other thing to do is to ask yourself how right now, today, you can help to alleviate someone else's suffering. How? What can you do? Because that's what you came here to do. The more you do what you came here to do, the happier you'll be. Believe me. I do what I do because it does a lot for me. I would never ever go back to a lifestyle of taking and living only for myself. When I grow a garden, I make sure there's extra to give away. When I go to the store, I ask if my neighbors need anything. If I earn extra, I help others out. I have a car, so I offer people rides, even strangers walking in the rain. So far, nobody's said yes, but I still offer. I remember one time I got into a cab and saw a man walking his baby in a stroller in a snowstorm. It still drives me crazy when I think about how I should have offered him a lift because that child probably had to go home sopped with snow in its face. Stuff like that will haunt me sometimes, and I have to learn to let go when I feel I've not lived up to my potential. I drive my neighbors to get groceries or shopping if they need a lift. I would never be again who I used to think I was. Never. A lifestyle of giving is a lifestyle of living from the heart, and it's the best way. Even with all the users, abusers, and entitled people on this planet, it's still better to give than to receive. And what do they call people like me? A goody two-shoes. Maybe even a Pollyanna. Well, don't beat it till you try it, I say. But that's this world, it can't stand nice people. They think we're not tough enough. That's BS. Because to be nice on this planet in spite of everything going on is strength, not weakness. If you're nice, you're a moving target for others who aren't, and so you get jabbed and speared every time they have a problem with themselves. My father did this to me all the time. Couldn't stand me the way I was. I was too sweet. He wanted to toughen me up. Ivo, correct, my love. He did that, but that is not how the universe lives, and that is why we are here helping you now. Me, yes, Ivo. Giving is living.